Hello my friends, you're welcome to Italy a Place to Love YouTube channel. Bentornati sul canale di YouTube di Antonio, Italy a Place to Love. So, few words in Italian, why not? Alright, so today I decided to make a video related with a video that I've done recently, okay, where I was talking about the top 10 cities where to live in Italy according to me, according to Italy, a place to love. So if you watch this if you have already watched this video, you know which cities I'm talking about. If you haven't watched that video, I will put in the suggestion. And so let's start. And so what else I want to say that this time I'm gonna show you on Google Maps where these towns are, because these cities are, because the previous video it was just me talking and describing a bit these cities. Now this time I will actually want to use Google Maps quite often, because it's also helping with a bit of geography. And so if people like also to know where exactly are the locations, why not using Google Maps? So let's start. I decided to start from the southern city selected by me, the, the top 10 cities. And so I will start from the southern city. Now, the southern city, if you remember, if you watch the video, was Lecce. So now let's go closer and let's talk a bit about Lecce. Now, I choose Lecce simply because is in the south of Italy, and I actually love the south of Italy. So is in Salento area. So we are talking about Lecce province. Lecce province. In Lecce province, there is this area called Salento, and also I choose Lecce because anyway, some of you have asked me in the comments, for example, Antonio, but we also would like to know which cities are good to live in Italy. So, for example, for me, Lecce could be a perfect city. First of all, because it's not a small town, so we are talking about around 100,000 inhabitants, and so and it makes the life quite easy simply because you are living in a city. Then what else I can say about Lecce? I don't want to go too long because anyway I need to cover all the 10 cities that are actually more than 10. But so basically Lecce is a city, so I have all the comforts of the city, and then I'm also very very close to the sea. So this gives me access, for example, to many beautiful locations that are all in the suburban area, that are all around Lecce, including the sea. For example, I see that I'm very close to Copertino. We are talking about maybe 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers, Nardò. So it's possible to reach many beautiful destinations in a very short time, yeah, and in a very short distance. Okay, so this Lecce was the southern city. Then going northern direction, so let me zoom out a bit. The second selected by me was Brindisi. Now, as we can see, we are in Puglia region, Lecce is a province. Then going northern direction towards Bari, we find this city that is called Brindisi. Let me zoom in a bit. So Brindisi, as we can see, is not a small town. We are talking about 81,000 inhabitants. Is on the sea, so this gives you the chance, for example, to live in a city, but at the same time you are just on the sea, so you can use and abuse, let me say, of the sea anytime you want. If you're a person who likes sunbathing or swimming in a beautiful sea, and at the same time living in a city, so you are in the right place. You might find all the comforts of a city. And then you are surrounded by many beautiful places. Now I just gonna zoom out a bit, and for example, we find the town of Mesagne, that is a 10-15 kilometers distance. We have San Vito dei Normanni. As you can see, for example, the roads here are quite good because they're all straight. They are all in a straight line because we are talking about a flat area, so there are no hills, no huge hills, no big mountains. So mainly the roads are just straight. So you have Carovigno, Ceglie Messapica, San Vito dei Normanni, Mesagne. Then going southern direction, you are not far from Lecce. So basically, from and in Brindisi also there is an airport. So that is a plus. And also is a quite big port. For example, as you can see, there are many destinations here. I think you can go even up to Turkey from here. So you're going through Greece. So there are many destinations in case, for example, you love to travel. You just jump on the boat and you might go to other beautiful destinations in the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so let's move in northern direction from Brindisi. The other town that I selected is Ostuni. Now, let me zoom out a bit, simply to let you understand where we are. We were in Lecce, then we moved Brindisi, northern direction. Brindisi, Lecce, Brindisi is maybe 30 minutes driving, is around 30 kilometers. Then maybe in around 20 kilometers, so we arrived to Ostuni, going northern direction. And I'm gonna zoom in. So now, what I want to say about Ostuni. Ostuni is smaller than Lecce or Brindisi. We are talking about 30,000 inhabitants. Anyway, we are in the heart of Valle d'Itria, that is one of the most renowned places at the moment in Italy. So there are many YouTubers, many people are covering this area. You might find a lot of material on YouTube in English language, so related to Ostuni and not only, but to all this area. For example, like here on the left of the screen, we can see Cisternino, that is another beautiful town. So here you are Carovigno, you are not far from Brindisi, you are actually a bit in between Brindisi and, okay, Bari is a bit more distant, maybe between Bari and Ostuni is a bit less than 1 hour, but then there is Martina Franca, that is a beautiful town in Apulia region. There is Alberobello, famous for the trulli. Now, for example, I would never live in a trullo, never. I find it very uncomfortable. Once I spent a night and I didn't like it at all. Now, it's beautiful to see, but to live, not really. So then you have Fasano, that is another beautiful town. Again, you are very close to Brindisi. And let me say, I'm not talking too much about the Ionian coast of Apulia region, but for example, from Brindisi or from Ostuni, but even from Lecce, you can reach also these beautiful destinations here that are based on the Ionian coast of Apulia region. Okay, so we covered Ostuni, we covered Brindisi, we covered Lecce. Now we are moving to Basilicata region. Okay, I'll go back to Puglia because there is one more city that I pick up in Apulia region. But at the moment, so because we are going northern direction, I want to bring you to Matera. Okay, now Matera is simply speechless. I would highly recommend to anyone to visit Matera because once you visit Matera, you will be totally speechless. I mean, it's such a beautiful city, full of history, houses made in the caves, the historical part, the old town of Matera. I'm telling you this, this is particular about Matera. So basically, Italy in the 1950s was just after the Second World War, and people were still living in these caves. So then, a president back in the days, I think was 1956, I'm not sure, people uh, were forcefully taken from these caves because they were unhealthy to live, and so this area, the old town, had been completely abandoned. But then from the 90s someone started renovating this property, and now after 30, 40 years that people started renovating these old caves, all the old part of Matera. Now let me zoom in, and now it's one of the most attractive destination in all Italy. I would highly recommend you to investigate. Use my channel anyway to have a kind of idea where the places are. I can give you a roughly description, but then you're always free to investigate more and to find more details about this city. So Matera. Now, I would highly recommend Matera because anyway, is a province. Matera is a province in Basilicata region. So even if we are very close to Puglia region, but anyway, it's nearly 60,000 inhabitants. So you find in Matera all the most important things that you might find in a city, plus a very touristic uh, city, plus a very touristic place. Then, what else I can say? For example, you are not far from the sea because from Matera, it's in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you might reach, for example, this town that is called Marina di Ginosa. I've been 2 years ago. Then there is another beautiful town that is called Bernalda, very very close to Matera. Um, Again, here on the left hand side of Matera you have Basilicata region. On the right hand side of Matera you have Apulia region. For example, here you have this town Altamura that is already in Apulia region. Altamura and Gravina di Puglia are also very particular cities, towns, beautiful, full of history. So it's impossible to get bored here. Then, for example, you have Gioia del Colle. Gioia del Colle is one of the best places. It's renowned for the mozzarella. It's considered to have one of the best mozzarella in Italy is from Gioia del Colle. Buffalo mozzarella, simply gorgeous. Anyway, so basically you are surrounded by many beautiful places. Then, if you want to go deeper in Basilicata region, now I will start covering Basilicata more because anyway, Basilicata it's a different type of region. It's unknown, it's made of very small town, hard to find towns that have more than 20,000 inhabitants. I think more than 25,000 inhabitants, there are only two cities, Matera and Potenza, that are the two provinces. All the other towns you find in Basilicata region, like Ferrandina, Tricarico, Pignola, whatever, they are all smaller than 20,000 inhabitants. So it's a particular region. Services maybe are not the best, it's not covered by railways. For example, Matera is very famous because it is the only province in Italy that doesn't have a railway. A railway, such the south of Italy was abandoned to itself for the last 60, 70, 80 years that the Italian government never even decided to build a railway. So you can connect to Matera by bus easily from Bari, from Brindisi. There are plenty of buses because anyway it's a very touristic destination, but the railway system in Basilicata is simply a tragedy. So even if the small routes that you have by train They are simply, it's a simply an amazing experience. You can do just as for a touristic reason to jump in one of these old trains that is taking maybe 2 hours to reach one destination, going very slow, 50, 60 kilometers an hour. An experience. So if you want to go back to 30, 40, 50 years ago, how people were living, even some places, I think you can even find how they were living 100 years ago here in Basilicata. No, now I'm a bit exaggerating, but has been such an abandoned place by the Italian government. People only abandoned since the last 60, 70 years. There have been very, very high emigration, that not even immigrants who are coming to Italy wants to live in Basilicata. For example, there are here some Tunisian guys, I know them personally, who are living in Monte Milone. They work in the fields. Their dream is to leave Monte Milone. Okay, sorry. Now, anyway, from Matera, that we are here, to Bari is nearly 1 hour. Anyway, I didn't pick up Bari because for me, Bari is beautiful, but it's too big for me anyway. Um, I like medium-sized cities, not very big. I think Bari is already more than half million inhabitants. So then the following city, going back to Puglia direction, is Trani. I pick up Trani because Trani is a gem, is a pearl of Apulia region. I mean, it's a place where most of the Apulian people they go. Maybe it's not very well renowned by the tourists, but anyway, it's a very, very attractive town, city, where all people from Puglia go, in particular for the fashion, for the beauty of the town, for the shopping. So it's collecting people from many, many towns around. For example, here we have Trani, then not far we have Barletta, that is another beautiful town. We have Andria, then we have Corato, then we have Molfetta. These are all beautiful towns. Bisceglie, for example. They are not very, very touristic from the foreigner point of view. They are kind of touristic from the Italian point of view. Italians are going to this area. So, for example, now let me spend few words about Monte Milone. The reason why I pick up Monte Milone, okay, I had some connections with my grandparents and whatever, but I pick up Monte Milone because Monte Milone is very close to Apulia region. I said this in many videos. Here is Monte Milone, okay? So now it's a pity that the picture of Monte Milone is not really paying back. So where you see this lake, that is not a lake, this is a dam. So from Monte Milone, if I want to go to Apulia region, so basically I drive toward Minervino direction. Monte Milone, Minervino is about 15-20 minutes. Then in another 15 minutes I'm in Canosa di Puglia. I made a video in the oil mill, so that's where I was. In 35 minutes I'm in Canosa di Puglia, okay? That is a beautiful town. The only thing is that it's not on the sea, but then from Canosa to Barletta, if I driving here, we are talking about 15 minutes. So basically, if from Monte Milone, that is here, I want to go to the sea, generally the closest places are Barletta and Margherita di Savoia. These are the most two favorite. Margherita di Savoia, we have buses during the summer from Monte Milone. So this is one of the reasons why I pick up this location, because it's close to this area. Barletta, Trani, Bisceglie, Andria, Canosa. So these are all town, well-serviced town where I can find all I need. Corato. So if I need to go for a big shopping, I might go to this direction. If I want to go to Bari, it takes a bit longer than 1 hour, 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay, so now let me zoom out. I covered Apulia region, I covered a bit of Basilicata, and now from Bari, if I move in northern direction towards Barletta, but then instead of going to Foggia, I follow this yellow line here, we reach this town, this city called Benevento. Okay, now Benevento is in Campania region, and I pick up this city because for me Benevento it's a very convenient place where to live if I want to live in a city. And why? So anyway, we moved from Apulia region. Now we are moving towards the Tyrrhenian coast. So we are going towards Napoli direction. Okay, Napoli, Naples. But so Benevento has 55,000 inhabitants, 60,000 inhabitants. So it's not a small town. Then, which are the benefits of living in Benevento? The benefits are that, anyway, I'm surrounded by beautiful nature, first of all, and nature is always important. I'm very close to Naples, so basically from Benevento to Napoli, I'd say it's half an hour driving. There is a very comfortable motorway that brings you from Benevento to Napoli. In Napoli, there is the airport, so you can, and it's a quite big hub, so you can easily commute to Naples straight away by plane and then reach your destination, Benevento. So then there are other towns. Benevento is a province. Then there is also Avellino, that is another province. Then, for example, from Benevento, you can, in a day trip, you can go to Amalfi Coast. What else is better than going to Amalfi? Sorrento. Now here, Amalfi Coast, let me spend a few words. I'd say it might be hard for me to live in this area, okay? But the good thing, for example, okay, there is Salerno. Salerno is another city where to live, for example, and once you live in Salerno, you can go, you are very, very close, but Salerno, the prices, for example, are higher than in a town like Benevento. I will cover anyway Benevento in the cheapest houses for sale in my next video. So anyway, from Benevento, I can reach easily places like Maiori, Amalfi, Positano, Sorrento. So these are the most beautiful destinations on Amalfi Coast. So basically, if you love, and then if you want to do shopping in Naples, it's very close. You can reach Capri and Ischia. So beautiful locations in a very short distance and with all the comforts of a city. Okay, so now I'm moving northern direction and I'm moving to Molise region. So from Benevento I need to go northern direction, okay, and Molise region will find it here where my mouse is, just above the peninsula, the Gargano Peninsula. Here is where we find uh, Molise region. In Molise we find Campobasso, that is a province. So then I think is the capital. Sorry, I don't remember very well. But anyway, then you have Isernia, that is another province of Molise region, Campobasso. So, but the town that I pick up in Molise region is called Termoli. Now, anyway, here it's all beautiful. Again, you have beautiful coasts. Then you can easily reach Tremiti Islands, for example, from Termoli. Termoli has 31,000 inhabitants. For me, between 30 and 50,000 inhabitants is the perfect size, according to me. Then you are very, very close to Gargano Peninsula. You can easily reach Rodi Garganico, that is another beautiful destination chosen by Italians. Then you have these lakes, these natural lakes that are also beautiful to see. Um, Anyway, so then you are close to Abruzzo region, a few kilometers. For example, Vasto here is already in Abruzzo region, is at the border between Molise. Vasto is another beautiful destination in Abruzzo region, San Salvo. But anyway, let's zoom in a bit in Termoli. Anyway, from Termoli, for example, you can take few roads that are going into the inland, and oh, here it is, Palata. My friend who is always watching the video will be happy to see that I'm even mentioning Palata. I have to visit this summer. That is a must. Anyway, you have beautiful towns in all this area, not far from Termoli. Um, Again, Palata, beautiful. Anyway, Termoli, again, you are living on the sea, so it's a perfect place if you love to live on the sea. Then, in a very short distance, you are already in the hills, beautiful nature, and also mountains. So, for me, Termoli is a beautiful destination. It's a pity I didn't buy. Before I moved to Monte Milone, my goal was to move to this town called Campomarino. Now, Campomarino, there is Campomarino Lido, that is on the coast, that technically these towns is like Marina di Ostuni. You only find people, let me say, during the summertime, and then during the winter, here you have this town just beside Campomarino. For example, here you have Campomarino Lido. This is Campomarino Old Town. I would have bought happily in Campomarino. Prices were a bit higher. My budget was that one. In the end, also because I was rushing, to be honest. I was rushing. I'll make a video that I may possibly also relocate in Italy in another destination. I'm always considering that I may close the house here. But anyway, don't let me switch. Let me stick to the topic of the top 10 cities where to live. Anyway, and I wanted to choose Campomarino simply because it was very close to Termoli. I noticed that Termoli has higher prices. For example, in Campomarino, that I will highly recommend, you are very close to the sea. You are very close to Termoli. I'd say it's 5 kilometers, so in 5-10 minutes you are already in the town, but you have of the city. But you in Campomarino, you still have the atmosphere of the town. You are in a walking distance to the sea, so it's simply, ma, never know, because obviously my goal is to live close to the cities, but sorry, to the sea, but no rush, no rush. I'll make it. Okay, so Termoli, then we move to Abruzzo region. So to Abruzzo region, we are going northern direction. So we keep driving northern direction, and let me zoom out a bit. Okay, and okay, so let me zoom out a bit more. Anyway, our next destination is Pescara here. Okay, that is the only, no, there are two towns that I pick up in Abruzzo region. So anyway, Pescara is more than 100,000 inhabitants, is a very modern city, is on the sea, is the kind of the center of Abruzzo region. So from here, in half an hour, you can already ski. So basically, Pescara, a very good friend who lives in Abruzzo region, and he lives in a town close to Pescara. He lives in a town that is called Francavilla al Mare. I was also considering Francavilla al Mare. He said, Antonio, I'm living in a place that if I want to ski and swimming in the same day, is possible. So basically, for example, during the season like May, that is still not very hot season, but you might still have snow in the mountains. In half an hour, 40 minutes driving, you are to the mountains. You ski for 1 hour, 2 hours, then you take the car, you go back to Francavilla, and in the afternoon you are swimming. So basically, I like this idea that you can swim and ski in the same day. That is a beautiful experience. I will actually recommend to everyone to try to make this, to ski and to swim in the same day. And not to swim in a swimming pool, maybe in a resort, in a ski resort where they have the swimming pool. No, I'm mentioning on the sea in the same day in a very short distance. Because anyway, there are high mountains here. There is the Apennine Mountains. Then you have beautiful town, Rocca Calascio, Sulmona. As you can see here, you have Parco Nazionale della Maiella, and so on. Anyway, Pescara, and then I remember the top 10 cities. I also pick up Chieti. Now, as we see, Chieti is very close to Pescara. Chieti is also a province. Um, and so, what's the distance between Pescara and Chieti? We are talking about 15, 20 kilometers. So, it means that in 10, 15 minutes, you will should be able already to commute to Pescara. So, you are living in a city. Chieti is 50,000 inhabitants. You are very close to the sea. You are very close to Pescara. You are very close. You are actually not even far from Rome, um, because we are already talking about the center of Italy. So as you can see here, we have Pescara. Then a bit southern direction, we have Chieti, and then there is the road that leads to Rome, for example. And in less than 2 hours, you can already be in Rome, for example. So it's a kind of interesting destination. Okay, so we covered Abruzzo region here between Pescara and Chieti, and now the last two cities that I mentioned in the top 10 cities where to live in Italy, they are in Marche region. Now, Marche region, that is here where we see Ancona, between San Marino, Pescara, and Ancona, Marche region is this region on the coast, on the Adriatic Sea. Basically, here you can find many places where to live, many beautiful towns. Again, between Umbria, Marche, Abruzzo, and Molise, you are in this central part of area of Italy, full of full of everything. I mean, full of quality food, quality air, the sea, the hills, the mountains, traditions. So you really breathing a lovely atmosphere. People are very friendly. Um, I need to discuss about the difference between the northern Italian people, the people who live in the center of Italy, and the southern. Um, I'm interested as well. I was interested, for example, in my past, I was studying anthropology, and always there is a reason why some population, for example, act or react in a certain way, and so there are studies behind. Now, I'm not gonna cover in this video, but it's something that I have to talk. When you are dealing with people, for example, in the north of Italy, there is a mentality. When you are dealing with people in the center of Italy, there is another mentality, and so on. And with the southern, with people from the islands, with Sardinia and Sicily, they're already different from the southern part like Apulia or Napoli. So it's a particular country, Italy. It's also you also have to deal when you're visiting Italy or you want to relocate to Italy. You also have to deal with the mentality. Anyway, the last two towns or cities that I wanted to cover now from Pescara, that we just covered, and Chieti, going northern direction following the Adriatic motorway up to San Benedetto del Tronto, that is at the border between Marche region and Abruzzo region. Going into the inland, we find this beautiful town, city called Ascoli Piceno. Now, Ascoli Piceno, according to me, is one of the most beautiful cities in Italy. Um, We are talking about 45,000 inhabitants, quality of the life very high, well serviced. So a lot of things to say. Easily you can commute to Rome, easily you can commute to Umbria region. For example, you can go to Pescara, you are very close to the sea, you are very close to Fermo, you are very close to San Benedetto del Tronto, that is another beautiful summer destination chosen by Italian. You have the national park of the il Parco Nazionale dei Monti Sibillini. So it's a beautiful destination. Ascoli Piceno, and is surrounded by many beautiful. You are not far from Gran Sasso, that is in Abruzzo region, that is one of the most important national parks in Italy. You have another big town, decent, lovely, beautiful town called Teramo. Teramo is also in Abruzzo region, and so on. So for many reasons, I would pick, for example, but obviously the prices they might be a bit higher. For example, but we will investigate, because I'm also covering the cheapest properties for sale in other videos in these 10 top cities selected by me. Okay, now let's move northern direction towards Ancona. Okay, and now between Ancona and San Marino we find this province called Pesaro, okay, and Urbino. Again, so basically these two cities, which are Urbino is 15,000 inhabitants and Pesaro is nearly 100,000, they make one province. So two towns are making one province. There is this province called Pesaro Urbino. So basically we covered Ascoli Piceno, that is the southern province of Marche region. And then we have Pesaro Urbino, that is the northern province of Marche region. Again, Pesaro Urbino, it's worth it to visit, to see. It can be a beautiful place where to live. Again, center of Italy mentality, close to San Marino and close to Emilia-Romagna region. For example, Emilia-Romagna is another top destination for holidays. Rimini and Riccione are two of the most famous destinations for, in particular, young people love the life, the nightlife in Rimini and Riccione. When I was teenager, it used to be the most important destination for everyone to go at least once. The best nightclubs, the best clubs in Italy, was considered one of the most places where to spend a week or two during the summer, simply for the nightlife. Not really for the quality of the sea, that is not really the best, but then anyway, from Pesaro and downwards you find anyway beautiful sea. Obviously, because here the sea is not very deep, we are at the northern part of the Adriatic Sea, okay? Obviously the Adriatic Sea, as you can see, is a closed sea, and the waters, let me say, not always have, in particular in the northern part of the Adriatic Sea, not always the quality of the sea is amazing. But for example, if you go on the Croatian side, you always find beautiful, because it's rocky. So here you have more sandy beaches, while here, for example, on the Croatian side, it's all a rocky with cliffs and so on. Anyway, my friends, what else can I say? I think I already talked a lot and said few basic information. I hope you enjoyed the video. Anyway, I'm gonna use this tool of Google Maps in a way or in another. The next video in Google Maps is gonna be about Basilicata region. I will just make a video where I'm gonna explain the geography of Basilicata. I will make this video probably next week. Okay, my friends, I hope you enjoyed the video here on Italy A Place to Love channel. If you watched up to now, put like and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything and you're supporting my channel. And I'll see you to my next video here on Italy A Place to Love. Bye!